Hey everyone, welcome back to Chasing Returns. This is episode 9. My name is JJ,
And I'm Zach.
and we're gonna kick this over to Zach to start this episode off.
All right. Share my. Could you enable screen
Yep.
sharing? So basically, I found a list of the top performing stocks from 2000 to. This article was written in like 2019, so it's a little outdated. But I will share that. Let me know when you can see it.
You can see it.
Okay. How do I hide this thing? There we go. Okay, we'll start with number 10. Ross Stores. First, what companies do you expect to see on here? And then we'll see if they actually are.
I like this. So here's something I would say, and
Okay.
obviously I can see Ross. I wouldn't have thought of Ross, but I have heard this from them. I think maybe we've discussed them once on the podcast. And that does not surprise me at all. I shop at Ross, honestly. I mean, not a lot, but like whenever I'm shopping for clothes, that's definitely one of the prime places I go, just because you can find the name brand stuff for cheap. But let's see what could be on there.
You think, I'm just gonna say I was surprised to see Ross because retailing is a very tough business, very competitive. So yeah, I was shocked.
Like I said, the only reason why I would have, like, it doesn't surprise me is because I think I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Not necessarily top 10, but I've heard that they had crazy returns and they've done extremely well. And like I said, I think we've mentioned that once in the podcast before. But sorry, did you say this is over the last 10 years?
This is from 2000 to 2019.
So 20 years.
20 years, obviously a little outdated as well. You'll see.
Did Tesla pop in 2019?
Tesla went public in like.
Well, no, I thought it went public.
Oh, 2019. No, their big run was 2020.
2020?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, it was 2020 because I remember looking back at that and it's like, wow, you could have done that even before the pandemic and still made crazy returns. So it can't be Tesla. I mean, I feel like it's got to be big tech in there. I feel like it has to be. If it's 20 years, Amazon, because that was after the dot-com bubble. Monster, I think, is the other one that I've heard before. Monster energy drinks. So I would go Amazon. I would say Microsoft. I'll say Apple. I'll say Monster. I mean, once you get out of, I don't want to just name big tech, but I feel like those three are definitely in there. Like I said, I think I've heard crazy returns from Monster. I'll try to name 2 more. I don't think I'm going to be able to get 9. But what other big?
Oh, no. Yeah, just name a few you think.
I want to try
some on here.
I want to try to get another industry though. Obviously, okay. I got food and beverage with Monster, and like I said, I think that's there. Maybe it won't be on this one, but I swear I've seen that before. That would be past. I was gonna say, Realty. But that more, I mean, like I said, that's just a consistent great earner. Yeah, no, I mean, off the top of my head, unless I name big tech, I don't think I'm gonna be able to. I'd want to throw like a Walmart in there, but I feel like that's too safe. It's probably gonna be some other small random company that obviously we know about, but I'm not gonna be able to guess. So let's see it. Let's see now.
All right, let's go 9. MasterCard.
I should have named one of credit cards. I would not have said MasterCard though.
And then,
I mean, solid businesses.
Whoops. Oh yeah, MasterCard's amazing business. This, I don't even know what this is.
I was just gonna say I've never seen that before.
Let me look it up real quick. But so far, the industries we have are
retail.
MasterCard, right. I'd call tech because that's
loans and interest and credit though. I mean, yeah, I guess it's tech. Yeah, that's true with the transactions.
IDEX Laboratories is. No way, it's headquartered in Phoenix.
It is?
I think
Are they chip manufacturer?
It's something for the companion animal, veterinary, livestock, and poultry markets.
Interesting. Would not have guessed that.
Products and services for that industry.
Would not have guessed that.
So
what year were I'll look it up. I was gonna say I've got a quick question. You can keep talking.
All right, I'll reveal number 7. Apple. No
Okay.
surprise.
I think I said,
Uh,
yeah, I said Apple. I just didn't say Facebook, or I think I should have said Microsoft. I definitely would throw that in there, but keep going.
This I have no idea what this is. Ansys.
And what I was looking up is IDEX Laboratories was founded in 1983. I was curious to see what year that was founded, since it was a Phoenix company. ANSYS. I'm gonna look that one.
Ansys is they develop and market CAE/multi-physics engineering simulation software for the product design, testing, and operation. Okay, never heard of it. Number 5, Intuitive Surgical. I've heard of this. I think it's they design and manufacture like robots for surgery.
Yeah, I was gonna say something in the medical space. Definitely had to be in here. I don't know a single medical stock that's like not, pharma, I guess, the main ones, but yeah, something that was something specific like that. Did not surprise me, or does not surprise me.
Yeah. So far, I mean, we've got retail in here. We've got healthcare, some tech. Apple's more like, I guess it's tech.
It's tech. It's a mix of a lot
whatever
of
the heck,
though.
IDEX.
Consumer goods.
Yeah. All right, number 4. This one's shocking. Tractor Supply.
So what is that?
Another retailer.
What is that? Someone that sells? Is that a company that sells tractors, or is that like a loan service? Because I know you always see those companies that always, you can rent out, like obviously they have their own, and then you can rent them out for work sites. And I could see that being extremely successful. Would not have guessed though anything like this, but it might be a supplier or a build or creator of them.
This is a retailer.
So what do they sell? All tractors?
They sell
like Black Cat.
I've never been in one. I think they sell like feed and just stuff for like farming.
It's like they sell like your traditional like Black Cat and like John Deere stuff or whatever, or is it?
They sell farm supplies. I don't know if they sell like stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah, that's.
But I see them around in Phoenix, so it's not like just like they sell gates, sheds, things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So kind of like your Home Depot, but probably
more targeted
targeted towards
farm and ranch.
Interesting. Yeah. All right,
we're in the top 3 here. Equinix.
I've heard of that.
Let's see. I haven't. No way.
What?
Oh, never mind. Okay, it's a.
Would you look up Equinox?
Well, if something popped up, it said a REIT, and I'm like, there's no way. Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say, it's a gym.
No, this is they specialize in internet connection and data centers.
Yeah,
so maybe they are a REIT and they just own data centers.
I was gonna say the data centers. I've seen that being around, the tech space and tech industry.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna look at all these later. But yeah, surprising. All right, top 2. Netflix, although
killed now.
If this list was updated for now, that it would not be anywhere near the top 10.
I should have thought, knowing those numbers too. I should have known that, because so many people have been saying how much that's been up in the last like 10 years.
Let me think. 23,000% up. It's down like 75%. So maybe it still would squeak out in top 10. I don't know, but that's a big jump you have from Equinix to Netflix. That's like, it's another double.
No wonder people have been in love with Netflix so much. And then they also got that huge, the thing is, if you add a year to this, it probably went up even more, because 2020 is when everyone subscribed. It's the last 2 years where the decline.
True. Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
So actually it might still be on this list, because like I said, it still probably went up a couple 100 more percent after.
Yeah, it probably is still on.
It's number 1.
All right, number 1, you called it. Yeah, monster.
I
but again, look at that jump. I mean, was by far the best performer.
How unreal is that? Like I said, I had heard of this and it blew my mind, but I've never forgot it since. And this is also why a certain YouTuber I am fond of is in the food and beverage space, or the food and beverage space, with trying to find the next big player, because there hasn't been many players like this that have been new that have come in, except other than Monster. So it's just kind of interesting to look at, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Monster. I'm guessing if the return was this good, they kind of followed a Coke model where like they produce like the syrups and stuff, or I don't even know. And then you have all
True.
these bottling companies that are they have the more capital intensive part. So they outsource the capital intensive part basically.
The only thing is though, I don't ever see Monster in soda fountains, so I don't know if it is ever syrup wise.
Yeah, like I said, I know nothing about it, so I could be totally wrong.
The only thing I
But
could
it's just
say is,
surprising.
I mean, until recently, like I mean, and I don't know this for fact, but did they invent the energy drink market? Because if so, there's really no other players other than,
Yeah, maybe they did.
what was the other main one in high school, or not high school, middle school, everyone drank? Our certain friend always loved Monster, but there was another big one. I'm trying to think of what the name of it is. Obviously, there's a ton now.
I don't know. I've never had an energy drink.
I
in my
haven't
life.
either, outside of that Coca-Cola energy one, which I've had once. I know the big one is like Celsius now, which everyone's drinking. And
Yeah.
then what, Dwayne Johnson's Zoa, if that's how you pronounce it, which supposedly does not taste very good. But obviously it's got the rock behind it. So I'm trying, this is gonna bother me if I don't figure it out.
So one issue with this list is it's public companies. So obviously things that were private and then went public in the middle of the period aren't counted. Something like Meta or Alibaba's one actually, that if you count like when SoftBank bought it back in early 2000s to now, absolutely enormous return. But from when they went public in 2014 to now, it's been awful. So that doesn't show up.
I'm still shocked that Amazon didn't make this list.
I think it's because Amazon had a huge run up, probably like in 1999, and then it came down 90%, and then it went off. So I think this list probably starts near where that peak was.
And then it crashed after.
Yeah, if you were doing a list of like from 1990 till now, I think Microsoft for sure would be in there. Apple would still be in there.
Microsoft was flat though for 10, 15 years. Obviously it's scaled like crazy now, but
from
there's
2000.
If you're looking at a company though that has gradually grown, it's not Microsoft. Microsoft got that pop at the end, but even then, I wouldn't doubt there's probably companies that are still larger than that. I just was guessing Amazon because of the .com crash, and I know it went to like 60 cents.
Yeah, I mean, this depends. I think the start date on this was January 1st, 2000. I don't really know. I can link the article to this video.
Yeah.
When we
also, the competitor I was thinking of that was really popular, because like I said, I only ever knew of 2 energy drinks up until the last like 5 years. In college, I feel like they've gotten a lot bigger, because even got like Bang Energy, which obviously always advertises with the girls and everything. But Rockstar was the competitor that I always remembered. It was always those 2, and like there was nothing else.
Right.
So I wonder if that's why they just lack of competition, and obviously you had youth that just kind of obsessed over it, and college students, I'm sure it was a huge hit. So they probably just capitalized on a big market, but it'd be interesting to look into that. Maybe we do a episode on that later. But
yeah.
or just
I'm definitely gonna look at all these closer.
Yeah, even a side video too, if we just want to post something rather than just this podcast. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Interesting though. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm surprised Amazon's not on there. Netflix, I should have known, would not have gotten most of these. And I should have guessed. I probably would have guessed like Amex or Visa. I wouldn't have guessed MasterCard, but yeah, that doesn't surprise me having one of the credits in there.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to add on this?
No, not really. Like I said, it'd be interesting to look at maybe another one of this that's even a little bit shorter. It would be just something to dissect based off of us being in the market, because obviously we were extremely young when that started. So it'd be interesting to look at maybe, companies more recently up until today and see where that list is. like over the last 10 years. But yeah, no, it was definitely a good find. And
Yeah.
definitely interesting.
Yeah, Tractor Supply. Who would have thought?
Never would have guessed that. That's the outlier of that list by a mile.
Yeah. All right. What should we talk about next? Should we talk about the big news today?
Go
That came
for
out
it.
this morning.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I woke up today, I look at my phone, I see a notification from Wall Street Journal saying that Elon Musk had an affair with, I think it's pronounced Sergey Brin. He was a co-founder of Google, had an affair with his wife, and they divorced shortly after that. What's interesting about this, though, is that Sergey and Elon were friends, and actually they have a long history. Like, I think Sergey and Larry Page, who was the other co-founder of Google, were one of the first people to put in a pre-order for the Tesla Roadster back in like 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2011, when Tesla was having some, like it almost went bankrupt,
Yep.
Elon went to those two and said, and they were negotiating Google basically bailing them out by acquiring them in 2011. So, I mean, he has a history with these two guys. They're friends, and stabs him in the back. So I have some thoughts on that, but I don't know if you have anything to.
I mean, it's just Elon news just nonstop. It seems like the last 2 years. I mean, obviously we've talked about him a lot on this podcast. He's in most thumbnails, him and Warren Buffett. Yeah, I mean, so I had just seen the headlines. You had sent this. I hadn't read it, so I didn't know the full details. Elon, the only thing with me is Elon's dating history is very confusing to me because doesn't he have kids with several women?
Yeah, he's like 10 kids with maybe 4 or 5 different women.
Yeah, that's the thing with me, other than the fact of, yeah, the history with the Google, which I was unaware of. That's very odd, especially because if this was 2011, obviously he'd come into some wealth after PayPal, and his fame and everything else haven't happened yet. And if you've seen pictures of him back then too, I don't know what the founders of Google look like. I've seen a picture, I think, but not names that I would recognize or faces I would recognize. But that's a little odd to me. Very odd to me that would happen back then. It'd be less surprising now, considering of the figurehead he is. I mean, I would never hope for someone to break a marriage, essentially, especially of a friend. But yeah, very odd story. Very weird situation too. And the one fun thing I'll say out of this, to kind of maybe go away from the home wrecking part of this, but and I think you know the answer because I brought this up before, but what are the only 2 American car companies that have never gone bankrupt?
I believe you said Tesla and Ford.
Correct.
Was it?
Yeah, it's Tesla and Ford.
Surprising. I would have thought Ford.
Ford ever since, I think, honestly, I think it's the Great Depression, actually, or maybe it was the wars. I don't know, way back when, because obviously Ford's a crazy old American car company. And ever since then, they've always held a lot of cash to withstand the tough like recessions, so that they could survive. So they always have been cash heavy, I believe, on their balance sheet just to protect themselves, which is why they were able to survive, I think, 2008, because I don't think they had much issue back then. Obviously, Tesla was just launching. So that's where they fell into trouble. But yeah, Ford they know what they're doing in terms of surviving the car market, because obviously that has definitely big highs and big lows, depending on how the economy is going.
Yeah. The only thing I have to say on the affair thing is, media is kind of like piling on him recently about how he's a terrible person and stuff. I think if you're doing more for anyone else in the world to advance humanity towards clean energy and becoming multi-planetary, who cares if like obviously it's a terrible thing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. It's like, this doesn't make him a bad person when he's doing so many other good things for the humanity in general. So
and that kind of, I mean, you're speaking right into one of the biggest problems I think with media nowadays, is the fact of, obviously, if you become famous enough, anything about you is going to come out. And it's one of those things of like, people that usually criticize the most are the ones that aren't famous. And it's like, if your life got scrubbed and, like investigated to the finest detail, there is plenty of stuff that'll come out about
Oh, yeah.
anybody.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's one of those things of when it's not going to come out about you, it's really easy to criticize other people. And I'm not saying there's not saints out there, because there are definitely good people that have made very few mistakes and probably made, obviously, never, sleeping with someone else's, fiance, wife, or whatever. Like, I'm not saying that this isn't still awful, but it's just like everyone makes mistakes. And it's, as you said, it's like he's doing so much other good. It's just like we're all humans, and it's one of those things that we also don't know the circumstance of her. Like, maybe she genuinely actually liked him more. Like, and it's like I said, he shouldn't have acted on it, probably. Like I said, that's where, problems come. But it's just like, if that was able to happen, then clearly there was problems in that marriage to begin with. But not to defend Elon too much, but it's just like, yeah, it's like love's a weird thing. I never like sometimes it brings out the worst in people, like in terms of bad situations. Obviously, it also can be one of the most beautiful things ever, but yeah, love's just tricky. So whenever it comes to relationships and stuff like that, it's like I always usually try to just err on like, okay, well, are they a good person? Like outside of it. Now, Elon's obviously a special character in the fact that, yeah, everything he's doing outside with his companies and trying to, help the world and the environment and everything like that. And also just giving back a lot, essentially, because he's a very unique billionaire. But yeah, I don't think too much into this. Obviously, like I said, that's an awful thing. If it becomes a pattern, yeah, then it's like, okay, he's not as great as a person. But like considering, like I said, how many people he slept with and had kids with, it's like that's his personal life. That like I would separate the two. It's like maybe he's not the best, monogamist, like, with one woman to marry and raise the family with. But also with his lifestyle and how busy he is, like I understand the fact that, maybe he's not, always going to be like, that's not a priority. Like having kids might be, but, the family as a whole might not be for him. And that's fine. Like people can decide that. And obviously there's going to be consequences, and maybe this story is one of them.
Yeah. Only other thing I have to add is Sergey's ex-wife, who had the affair with Elon, they divorced, and now in the divorce arrangement, she's trying to get $1 billion out of him, which is like way more than their prenup. so not only she cheated on him, and now she wants $1 billion.
See, that's my point. It's like obviously Elon might have been the facilitator, but it's just like if that's like maybe Sergey wasn't, it's like these super high productivity people that just create these amazing things for the rest of the world. It's like sometimes you're not the best family man because you're not around as much. Like, so it's like that's why you see a lot of these divorces. And also when you have that much money, it complicates things. Like it's hard. I mean, not to bring in sports into this, but like look at how many athletes have this issue. And on top of that, like look at Tiger Woods. And obviously that's a crazy scandal, which obviously people now, have somewhat forgotten him, but like that ruined his image when he was on top of the world. But it's just like, yeah, it's like whenever you have fame and money, it's like I said, the family oriented, that becomes tricky. So it's one of those things of like, it's not like it's a regular, it's not great. And I would never promote it. And I wouldn't ever view Elon as like, oh, he's a great father, I like him because of that. It's like, no, I like him because of his brain and what he's accomplishing and what happens on the back. And that's his personal life. Like if he was a regular dude, we wouldn't know about his personal life. So it's like, it might not be good, but it's at the same time, it's like, he's put on a pedestal and he's investigated more than anybody, just like any famous person.
Yeah. So
we have 4 minutes to close this one out. So what do you want to go into?
Well, there were all sorts of earnings reports last week: Netflix, Tesla, Amex.
All right,
airlines.
let's run through them real quick.
Oh well,
just
didn't you have something on Netflix?
Quick thoughts. Yeah, so I was going to bring up on Netflix. Obviously, we kind of brought them up because they were in the list and they keep losing subscribers like crazy, which makes sense because everyone in the pandemic, like I said, probably bought Netflix because they needed it. And there's a lot more competition that have come out since then. It's like, so they reached pretty much everyone they could have. So it's going to be hard to maintain that. Plus, they raised their price. But part of the reason they're raising their prices is because they invested like crazy in their own content, which is how they are viewing to keep their subscribers, obviously, because you need to have stuff that's unique to only your service. And my dad was telling me that the Gray Man, it just released on Netflix. They said it was a very good movie. I don't think they said it was anything great.
I watched it yesterday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so they watched it and they said, watch it. It's the most expensive movie they've ever made. You want to guess the budget?
It was like 200 mil, right?
200 million.
Yeah.
And their second most is Red Notice, which was also, I think, around 200 mil. But yeah, he said that if I watch it, I'll understand how they spent that money. Would you attest to that comment?
Sorry, what was the question again?
My dad's saying if I watched it, I would understand
Oh yeah.
where that money
Oh yeah.
went.
It was yeah, a lot of stunts. Like it was an entertaining movie. It wasn't the best movie ever. It was
And
entertaining.
see, that's what it seems like they're very good at. It seems like they're very good at recently making very entertaining movies. The problem is, and Andrew Schultz, a comedian, said this on Rogan once, that Netflix is screwed because of YouTube, because they have to spend $200 million to occupy you for 2 hours. And YouTube is free. And a podcast that gets uploaded 2-3 times a week occupies you for an hour for free. So how are they going to keep up? We'll see.
Depending on who uploads it. If a big YouTuber uploads
No, if you have
it,
the
then
problem is if you have an open forum where
costs
you can
some
make money, and it's like people will just come to you without you having to pay them, which is kind of the brilliance of YouTube, but that's a separate argument. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up was Snapchat just continually getting killed. I don't know. Do you even use Snapchat anymore?
no.
See, I do, but I'm using it less and less. And I have friends that I've seen dropping off more and more. I think the streaks was very big at keeping them, people very hooked to the app. But as you get older, it's like it becomes more irrelevant. And I never click on the stories that are in the end that you get paid to do. Like the podcast that I'm associated with in terms of for working, like they just created a channel on there and they get paid for that. And somebody that they had recently was talking about it, and like they make majority of their income off Snapchat. And I'm like, how is Snapchat paying these creators and no one's watching it? Now, obviously, there has to be someone that is for them to, see it being worth it. But it just blows my mind. But yeah, I see Snapchat being in a lot of trouble. And I just, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they ever disappear.
All I have to say on Snap is they have if you look at their financial statements, some of the most disgusting financials I've ever seen. Just burning cash.
See, it
super
almost
unprofitable. Share count going up, debt going up, all just disgusting.
because of them not being profitable, essentially. It kind of reminds me of a Vine situation where Vine had a great app and a great service, but they couldn't find the correct way to monetize it for how much it cost them to run it. And obviously Twitter bought it, but then they ran into the same issue of couldn't monetize it, and then they canned it. Now TikTok's interesting. We'll see how long they last. Seems like they've kind of figured out a way, but it costs a lot of money to keep all those videos up.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well, big week of earnings next week, so we'll have a lot to talk
we'll
about.
get into that. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next week.
See ya.